Hey everybody, it's Josh with Renew Design Build. I'm going to answer a quick question today. What is the difference between a guest house and an ADU? Guest house, casita, or an accessory dwelling unit. We do a lot of projects in both categories, and the main difference between those two, an ADU is going to be a permanent residence, secondary dwelling on a single piece of property that already has a primary residence on it. But it functions as a full-time living space. Somebody lives there day in and day out. A guest house or a casita is going to basically be occupied. I think often in different cities there will be an actual time limit on a certain amount of time someone can live in the space, or a percentage of time that a space can be occupied. We do a lot of both projects. Typically, the main differences you're going to see in the structure and the amenities in those two spaces are going to be in the kitchen. ADUs can have a complete kitchen with full appliances. There's no restrictions on the size of appliances, whereas guest homes often are going to be limited to a very small bar sink, no full-size appliances, and certainly no cooking services like a full range. You might be able to put a countertop hot plate in or something like that, but that is going to be the main difference. That generally it's going to be the jurisdictions like the county or the cities are going to look at when they're determining what type of a project is this and whether or not it is permitted on a specific piece of property. Now, in terms of cost, a guest house and an ADU are going to be really similar. Very similar amount of structure and finishing work in both. The big difference that you'll see, and it doesn't equate to a really massive budgeting difference, is that if it is attached, if an ADU is attached to the primary residence, oftentimes there's going to be some firewall requirements by the city or the county jurisdiction, that we'd have to have some sort of a 2-hour firewall separation for those sorts of projects. Often what we end up running into also is that on rural properties, ADUs need to be attached to the home. There's a bunch of legal reasons for that, but that's the good cliff note. In a city, they have no issue having a completely detached ADU. In the rural properties, at least here in Southwest Washington, detached units need to be guest homes. If you wanted a full functioning ADU with a full kitchen, it needs to be attached to the house. The reality is there's a lot of research that goes into that in the early phases of our pre-construction planning. So if you're curious about what your property is going to allow, what kind of space would be supported on your zoning and your specific situation, give me a call. It's what we do in the first phases of our project planning process.